Well, I get to continue to kick this off with my Giants, who have a nice 2.5 game lead in the wild card. But since we last left, I believe when we last did the last podcast, they were 2.5 games out. They have fallen to 6 games out of first. The
Yikes.
Dodgers are red hot. They're 8-2 in the last 10. The Giants are 5-5 in their last 10, and part of that has to do with what I would, if I was passing out a grade, I would give them an F for the trade deadline. I mean, at the same time, this is kind of like what we were talking about with the Cubs a few weeks ago. Like, maybe they are okay, and we'll talk about, you'll get more into that with the Cubs. Like, maybe they're okay with not making like any big moves because, for the Giants, they're with the team they've had in place. They're 10 games over 500 against teams who have winning records. They were in the hunt for the division. Everything was going fine, but you also have to anticipate moves that are being made by the teams ahead of you to try and keep up, and they didn't. And
AJ Pollock, it's not
AJ
keeping
Pollock,
up.
fucking terrible, man. I mean, that to see him back with a team that I follow is.
Yeah, there's some personal baggage
painful.
there for you as a former White Sox there. So
I mean, to even make a trade for a guy with a 46 OPS plus for the season is just pathetic.
I didn't realize he was having that bad of a year.
Yeah. And then they also got Mark Mathias, 30-year-old.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, 30-year-old journeyman who's most games played in a season has been like 30 games. That was between Milwaukee and Texas last year.
Is he a middle reliever?
No, he's a middle infielder.
Oh my God.
He's just fucking shit. Then
and bench depth.
I guess. I mean, then they got Marquise Johnson, mediocre pitcher. Like, it just, none of it made sense. And there were trades that made sense, and it was dissected really well by Eric Cole in Around the Foghorn, and he
I like that. I haven't heard that before.
That's clever. He brought up 3 names that would have made perfect sense, and the Giants would have had the assets to pull it off. But I think the Giants are kind of like, we're looking at the bigger picture here, right? If we don't, if we don't go deep in the playoffs this year, it's not all lost because we have a really solid young nucleus. And how much of that do we really want to give up? But the fact that you are where you are, you can't, you don't know what's ever going to happen. So when you're close, you need to make moves. And, they had the assets to acquire Jordan Montgomery from the Cardinals. They whiffed on that one. They could have acquired Candelario that the Cubs acquired, and he would have been a much better addition than the schlubs they picked up to boost the offense. Or they even could have acquired Mark Canha. But because the Mets were looking to deal, obviously, because of their mess. But like, none of that happened. And maybe the team's a little let down, like we didn't make any moves, and they're kind of playing flat right now, and they find themselves 6 games out of first. I mean, like I said, September's a huge month for them. With the Cubs playing better now, that matchup now in Wrigley at the beginning of September could have wild card implications. That's huge. And then they end the season playing. I think I had mentioned they played the Dodgers like 7 times out of the last 10 games. So like
Yeah.
September is a huge fucking month. So they're dealing with these guys keep going in and off of the IL, and like again, just to rail on AJ Pollock, he went on the IL yesterday. He's played like 5 shitty games for them. It's probably a blessing he's on the IL, for Christ's sake. But like, it's just a little bit disappointing. And I'm kind of like in between in my disappointment because like I really didn't expect them to do much this year, but now that they're in it, I kind of wanted them to do something. Like one starting pitcher, one top of the road, middle top of the rotation starting pitcher would have gone a long way, and they just didn't make it happen. So I don't know. It's just a huge disappointment. So
It was a weird pitching market.
It was.
We'll definitely get into deeper as we get into the show, but yeah, I think that might explain part of it. But yeah, I didn't really hear about the Giants at all, except for the Pollock move, which I was understandably, I think, underwhelmed by, and you are too, apparently. So I didn't even hear about the other guys. So yeah, I guess I am kind of surprised the Giants didn't do a little more to maybe go for it, or a little bit more. Maybe not go for it all out, because I was arguing that the Cubs shouldn't go crazy either. But
well, yeah, I think they kind of played it the same way, and the Cubs are like, we got a really solid nucleus here.
Mm-hmm.
We have enough probably to continue to maybe win the division because everyone was
the Cubs.
The Cubs, yeah.
Yeah.
And so let's not totally upset the balance,
But the Giants would be going for the wild card. They don't have division
they don't
aspirations.
I don't think at this point they don't. They did. They would have had it. Might have, or maybe they never did. Maybe they were just like.
That's what I'm getting at. I don't think they thought they were going to get the division. I thought they may like think that they've got a reasonable shot at the wild card, but maybe they just decided we can get in the wild card, but what does that really mean? We're not going to really go nuts here and trade away future assets or valuable future assets to make a run that's going to be doomed to fail eventually. Maybe,
right. And I guess smart in the long term, just like when you're
it's frustrating though. I mean, when you're right there though.
Yeah. So, and they played the Dodgers tough all year, but I mean, who knows? Maybe it is. Maybe it's enough. Maybe it's enough at the end of September. There could be injuries to the Dodgers that happen.
It has happened before.
Yeah, it has happened before. So we'll see. But like I said, like my overall thoughts on the trade deadline for the Giants, just like very, very poorly done. But from a bigger picture standpoint, I guess they did the right thing. They didn't trade away any major top prospects to maybe like you alluded to, Smitty, and I agree with you that they're thinking of it more of like, yeah, we'll get into the playoffs this year, but we're building for an extended playoff run.
Yeah,
that will reap better results than this one.
Word Hole Media.